Hello, magical adventurers. Welcome to Fantasy Reimagined. Here fantasy stories come to life. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to join our enchanting journeys and never miss a new adventure. See you in the realms of wonder. Hello viewers, how are you all doing? First thing is that starting from the end of this part, our main story will begin, and some secrets about Saiyan's past will be unfolded, and so will their enmity with the gods. So stay focused and don't miss any of the parts I upload from now on. And secondly, I am to tell you some combat power distributions, like 1W is equal to 10,000, so the power levels that have W in tier end will be counted like this. For example, 4W is equal to 40,000. Now let's start our video. Frieza knew about Slug. It took a lot of effort for Frieza to get rid of Slug in a recent battle, but how did it get related to Piccolo? That's right, don't look down on us Namekians in your next life, Piccolo suddenly shouted. The magic light cannon, Piccolo's ultimate move, gathers energy at the fingertips and then shoots it out in a spiral shape, with super strong penetrating power. Frieza watched Piccolo use it, but he couldn't avoid it. No, how is this possible? I never thought that I, Frieza, would die at the hands of you low-level races one day. I won't accept this. As his heart was pierced, Frieza let out a painful roar. Looking back on his life, he had a combat power of 53 million when he was born, and his talent was the highest among the frozen demons. As he entered maturity, his combat power of 370 million was enough to sweep across the universe. I am afraid that except for his elder brother Kui and his father Clued, he could be said to be invincible. But now he has never been insulted like this since he was born. Everything will pass, but Frieza is unwilling to die like this. In that case, let's go to hell together. Frieza gathered his last bit of strength and fired a planet-destroying bomb towards the planet's core. Ha ha ha, all of you be buried with me. Without your spaceship, I wonder how you can survive the destruction of the planet. Frieza delivered the final blow, aiming directly at the core of the star. He looked at Sun Tien and the great demon king Piccolo with provocation in his eyes. No matter how powerful you are, you will still be buried with me in the end. But for some reason, Frieza did not see the latter's panic, but instead looked at him like an idiot. What's going on? Why didn't my planet-destroying bomb penetrate the Earth's core? What's going on? At this time, Frieza also felt that although his planet-destroying bomb penetrated deep into the Earth, it did not hit the core of the star. Ha ha ha, Frieza, why do you think we chose this planet as the battlefield? Sun Tien laughed. Frieza completely overlooked one problem, that is, this planet is too big, more than 100 times larger than a normal planet. If it was in his heyday, Frieza would have no problem destroying this planet, but now, Frieza has been severely injured and his strength is less than 1/1000th of his heyday. With his current combat power of only a few 100,000, the planet-destroying bombs he uses can no longer pose a threat to such a large planet. A breath of despair emanated from Frieza. He didn't expect that even the destruction of the planet had become a possibility. Feeling that Frieza's breath had dropped to the freezing point, Vegeta also flew over quickly. At this time, Sun Tien had already withdrawn from the space domain. Ha ha ha, Frieza, you didn't expect that in the end you would still be defeated by the Saiyans you looked down upon. Let me give you the final blow. Vegeta quickly gathered his energy, and a highly compressed energy ball took shape. No, it shouldn't be like this, why? Frieza wanted to move, but was locked by Sun Tien's machine and couldn't move at all. Watching Vegeta's energy ball coming, boom, a sky-high explosion, Frieza's place was completely blown into nothingness. Vegeta, the Emperor of the Universe, put an end to his illusory dream of immortality. It was over. Although there were ups and downs, it was not much different from Sun Tien's expectations. It's just that he failed to use Frieza's pressure to allow Vegeta to successfully transform into a Super Saiyan. However, I think this battle will be enough to release Vegeta's emotional knot and prepare him for future transformations. The arrival of Slugu was unexpected, but even without Slugu's arrival, with Sun Tien's strength, he could easily destroy Frieza, even though Frieza was stronger than expected. However, this battle also yielded a lot of gains. First, Latiz and Nappa broke through, and then Piccolo actually assimilated Slug, and his combat power exploded in one fell swoop. Sun Tien teleported, and brought Latiz, Nappa, and Chi Tien over. Although Raditz and the other two had been using their chi to sense the situation here, they couldn't help but take a breath when they saw the destroyed surface of the planet. Is this the destruction caused by high-end combat power? There is no intact environment on the entire surface of the planet. There are pits thousands of meters deep everywhere, full of fiery red magma and erupting volcanoes everywhere. It will take hundreds of years for this area of hundreds of kilometers to recover. Sun Tien carefully searched with his spiritual sense and was sure that Frieza, Slag, and the people he brought with him had all been buried. He didn't want another golden Frieza to appear later. Although he was not afraid, he thought it was troublesome. You must know that from the very beginning, Sun Tien's target was not Frieza, but a deeper character. It's finally over. Let them clean up the battlefield, Sun Tien said. My worries have been resolved. I plan to stay in seclusion for a while. I think I can transform into a Super Saiyan, Vegeta suddenly said. Oh, then let's go back to Earth. I'm afraid there will be more troubles. Yeah, who on earth leaked the fact that we have the Dragon Balls? Frieza's forces will probably be in chaos. Piccolo is right. We need to investigate this matter thoroughly. Whoever it is will have to pay the price. Also, it's time to let the universe know the name of our magic and martial Holy Land. Yes, fight out. First unify the Northern Galaxy, then sweep across the Milky Way, rush out. Chi-Tian is a battle maniac at first glance. You should know that he played no role in this battle, he just came here to play a supporting role. Several people flew towards the interstellar portal. Without a spaceship, they still had to rely on interstellar teleportation to go back. One day later, at the Earth's magic and martial Holy Land, Sun Tian gathered all the core members together to discuss future development. At this time, the Northern King who had been observing couldn't help it after all, and began to contact them. If it is not necessary, the King of the North Realm is really unwilling to talk to Sun Tian and others. These people are obviously evil and obviously difficult to control. Sun Tian suddenly remembered the voice of King Kai of the North in his mind. It was unexpected but also expected. You know, there are so many planets in the entire Northern Galaxy. Even if King Kai wants to find the Earth among them, it is not easy. However, King Kai will always pay attention to the movements of Frieza, the Emperor of the Universe, to avoid any trouble. When Sun Tian and others were fighting against Frieza, Sun Tian clearly felt a strange peeping, although it was gone in a flash. But for Sun Tian, who had cultivated his spiritual consciousness, it was impossible to escape Sun Tian's perception. Sun Tian and his team destroyed Frieza, who was wreaking havoc on the entire Northern Galaxy, and also dealt with Slug in the Southern Galaxy. It was hard not to attract the attention of the North King. However, the North King could not figure out the intentions of Sun Tian and his team. After all, the strength of Sun Tian and Piccolo was far beyond the control of the current North King. If something went wrong, another Frieza might appear. After all, after Sun Tian broke through to the Avatar realm, his status was almost the same as King Kai's, which made King Kai even more embarrassed. Hello, I am the god from the underworld, King Kai of the North. First of all, thank you very much for getting rid of the evil Frieza for the Northern Galaxy. King Kai of the North also knew that for a strong man like Sun Tian, it would be best to get straight to the point and explain the reason. Secondly, I want to know what your plans are next, King Kai asked. After all, Sun Tian has a similar status to himself. If he does evil, I'm afraid he will not cause less trouble than Frieza. King Kai, were you spying on us on the planet Kals before? Sun Tian did not answer directly but picked on King Kai's business. Yes, at that time, I heard from King Yama that all the Ginyu Force members under Frieza were killed in the battle, so I investigated the situation in the human world. I really didn't expect that there would be a being like you on that planet, King Kai replied. Before answering your question, I want to know what kind of existence is the underworld and the human world. And how is this universe composed? Sun Tian asked. To be honest, although he had watched the anime no less than 4 or 5 times in his previous life, Sun Tian still didn't quite understand the composition of the underworld and the human universe in the entire Dragon Ball world. King Kai was, after all, a god who managed the entire Northern Galaxy, so he should know much more about this issue than he did. Originally, this question cannot be asked to human warriors, but your status is almost the same as ours, so it won't be against the rules to tell you, King Kai replied, organizing his words to explain to Sun Tian. It turns out that the entire Dragon Ball world, as far as King Kai knows, is divided into the human world and the underworld, as well as the legendary realm of the gods. The human world constitutes the foundation of the entire world, while the underworld exists independently of the human world, but is higher than the human world. As for the realm of the gods, it is a legendary existence. King Kai is not very clear whether it exists or not, but he thinks it exists. At least King Kai has seen a real god, and he is a very high-ranking god of destruction. The human world is composed of planets, with galaxies as blocks, divided into 5 blocks, east, south, west, north, and center. In the underworld, there are 4 kings in the southeast, west, north, and north, as well as the great king in the middle, who manage the corresponding areas respectively. The universe is just composed of countless galaxies, and each galaxy has its own independent underworld system. Compared to the human world, the underworld may be only 1/10,000th the size of the human world, but it is a higher dimension and has greater stability or spatial stability. If there is life on a planet in the human world, a corresponding yin-yang channel will be generated. When a life dies, it will enter the underworld through the yin-yang channel and be judged by King Yama. According to the sins and merits, it will be sent to heaven or hell. Of course, the underworld is not full of dead people. For example, the king of the realm and the underworld messenger are all gods and belong to the category of living people. There are also some species unique to the underworld, and the planets that have already formed civilizations may also give birth to local gods to assist the underworld to complete the corresponding work and guide the development of the human world. Of course, the native pantheon may be destroyed, just like the planet Vegeta where the Saiyans lived before. The native pantheon was destroyed by the Saiyans. And some righteous martial artists who go to the underworld may be given a physical body to go to King Kai or Great King Kai to continue practicing. Of course, if they don't want to practice, they can also choose to erase their memories and reincarnate. And these martial artists have the opportunity to return to the world of the living for one day through the onmyoji every certain period of time to fulfill some wishes. Or when the world of the living encounters something that King Kai can't handle, these martial artists can also return to the world of the living to solve it, but there is a time limit. They can only stay in the world of the living for one day, and when the time is up, they will be forced to be taken to the underworld by the laws of heaven and earth. I see, I didn't expect the universe to be so interesting. After listening to King Kai's explanation, Sun Tian had a general understanding of the composition of the entire universe. If there was one thing he didn't know, it would probably be the legendary realm of the gods. In a word, the human world is the foundation, and the underworld is of a higher level or a different dimension than the human world. The legendary realm of the gods is at the top, managing each underworld, and each underworld system manages the corresponding human world. Haha, the wonders of the universe are not something that a King Kai like me can know all about. Maybe the gods in the realm of the gods can understand. King Kai of the North laughed. Okay, thank you very much for your explanation. As for what we plan to do next? Of course, we will continue to capture planets and build a powerful cosmic empire, said Sun Tian. Ah, why is that? King Kai didn't understand what he meant at once. That's it, King Kai. Do you think it's inappropriate? How many lives will be lost for no reason just like this? I beg to differ. It's as if no lives are dying for no reason nowadays. After the transmission, Sun Tian directly cut off the communication with King Kai. On King Kai's planet, King Kai looked up at the sky, as if the sky was falling. Of course, Sun Tian and King Kai of the North all communicated in their minds. As the King Kai who governs the Northern Galaxy, not everyone can communicate with him because of his high status. Only with people like Sun Tian who have reached the same level of life, King Kai will take the initiative to communicate. Otherwise, don't you see that Frieza and Rudfera have been roaming the universe for so long, but they have never known the existence of King Kai? In the eyes of King Kai, although these people are a disaster to the universe, they are really not taken seriously by King Kai. After all, King Kai's life is infinite. Even if they are as strong as the Frozen clan, their lifespan is less than 1,000 years at most. But Sun Tian is different. With the improvement of his life level, in a sense, he is already the same kind of person as King Kai. Therefore, King Kai is so polite to Sun Tian and answers the questions asked by Sun Tian. Now the core of the magic martial Holy Land is not only Sun Tian and other high-end combat forces, but also includes talents from all aspects. After killing Frieza this time, Sun Tian and others are not in a hurry about what will happen to the entire magic martial Holy Land. After all, the same old saying goes, they are good at fighting, but to clean up the mess after the war, we need professionals to do professional things. A month later, the development plan of the magic martial Holy Land was discussed. After more than 10 years of development, the magic martial Holy Land will finally stretch out its claws and set about establishing a truly centralized power. In the past, although it had always been under the leadership of the magic martial Holy Land, it was still somewhat unreasonable to command it. Now, a group of core members have decided that the magic martial Holy Land will complete a thorough transformation or a revolution. The magic martial Holy Land was renamed the Magic Martial Empire. For this reason, Sun Tian and others specially summoned the dragon to transform the entire solar system. If it were someone else, it might be just a wish, but Sun Tian is different. As the descendant of the dragon, as long as it is not too much, the dragon will naturally not say no to help if it can help. In this way, the entire solar system has undergone tremendous changes. The original 9 stars were arched to the sun. Under the power of the dragon, the 9 stars directly merged into one to form a brand new Earth. The new Earth is more than 3,000 times larger than the original one, and the gravity is 10 times the original one. The solidity can easily withstand the battle of tens of billions of combat power. Of course, the new Earth can no longer be called the Earth. It was renamed the Magic Martial Holy Star, as the imperial capital of the Magic Martial Empire. In order to ensure the normal operation of the Magic Martial Holy Star, 2 stars were specially moved to form a new Magic Martial Star system with the original Sun Star. The new Mowu Galaxy is composed of 3 stars and a super-large Mowu Saint Star, and the Mowu Saint Star is orbited by 81 Earth-sized satellites named Mowu 1 to Mowu 81. The satellite's gravity is equivalent to that of the original Earth. The original Earth humans were temporarily placed on the Mowu 1 satellite. After all, the new Mowu Saint Star, ordinary humans simply can't withstand 10 times the gravity. When the dragon appeared and accomplished this feat, all the core members were dumbfounded. What a great power it was. It would not be surprising to call it the creator. Piccolo and the others felt that their fighting power was like an ant compared to an elephant compared to the power of the dragon. They were not at the same level at all. They were far behind. In a moment of thought, the world turns upside down. In a moment of breath, the world changes dramatically. What is a magical power? This is the real magical power. Compared with it, Sun Tian's magical power is just like a baby learning to walk. Even if Sun Tian knew that the ancestor Shenlong was powerful, he didn't expect him to be so strong. compared with the ancestor, Frieza, Buu, and the god of destruction, are not at the same level at all, much higher. The key is that this is just a divine thought of the ancestor Shenlong. In Sun Tian's opinion, only the great priest Omni King in Dragon Ball Super in his past life can be compared with him. However, if Sun Tian knew that when the dragon descended to this world, he fought with the Omni King's body, causing the Omni King's body to fall asleep, and could only separate a mentally handicapped Omni King child to manage the world, what would he think? Of course, this level is far beyond the reach of Sun Tian now. If he wants to reach this level, he must at least practice the ancient ape magic art to the Dharma image realm. With the birth of the magic martial star system, the magic martial empire opened a new chapter. The construction of the Holy Star, the planning of satellites, the recruitment of troops, the layout of various industries, the planning of education, and external expansion plans were gradually put on the agenda. The magic martial empire is mainly based on military force, supplemented by technology, and attaches great importance to the training of warriors and the training of various talents. The new magic martial Holy Star is too big. Because the gravity is 10 times the standard gravity, ordinary people have no way to survive, and many places are in a desolate state. Most of the scientific and technological talents of the magic martial empire temporarily live on the magic martial satellite number 1. Fortunately, the magic martial technology is advanced, and anti-gravity equipment that can offset gravity has been developed quickly. Otherwise, the development of the Holy Star depends on these warriors, and it may not be planned well. 3 months have passed in a flash, and the new magic martial Holy Star has changed a lot. Various buildings have quickly taken shape on the basis of strong scientific and technological support. The magic martial empire has entered a stage of rapid development. The magic martial Holy Mountain is the first mountain range in the entire Holy Star. The mountain range is hundreds of thousands of kilometers long and wide, so it is directly named the Magic Martial Holy Mountain. The Magic Martial Peak, the highest peak of the Magic Martial Holy Mountain, is 298,781 meters high. The original Earth Heaven is located here. With the rapid development of the previous Magic Martial Holy Land, the Earth's god system has long been replaced. Although the heaven still exists, the so-called god has long lost its meaning. The god Piccolo is no longer a god but an ordinary martial artist. However, the servant of God Bobo has always existed to maintain the operation of the heaven. Today's god Piccolo is no longer bound by divine power, and his combat power has reached a terrifying 10W. Although it is not as good as Sun Tian and others, he is a rare master in the entire magic martial empire. The Earth's heaven has always been a very peculiar existence. Even in the entire universe, it is very special. It has its own system, the legendary world of gods, a shuttle that travels back in time, and a spiritual time house that changes the speed of time. However, today's heaven has been directly requisitioned by Sun Tian and others, and has become their place of practice, named the Magic Martial Holy World. In the holy world of magic and martial arts, Piccolo and Sun Tian were sparring with each other. The constant sounds of collisions could be heard, making the people outside feel that the entire holy world was shaking. You have to know that the current holy realm is many times stronger than before, but their battle can be transmitted to the outside through the holy realm battlefield, causing the entire holy realm to tremble. I still lost. I didn't expect that you could easily withstand my strongest attack without using magical powers, just relying on your flesh and blood. Piccolo looked discouraged. That's right. If I don't make progress, I'm afraid I will really be surpassed by you. It has been 4 months since the battle with Frieza. A lot has changed in these 4 months. Thinking of the power of the dragon ancestor last time, Sun Tian's state of mind has been improved again. He has reached the late stage of supernatural power. I am afraid that if there is another opportunity, he can directly reach the peak. Various supernatural powers are even more terrifying. For example, now the blood is violent, and the highest increase is comparable to the transformation of the Super Saiyan, a full 50 times increase. Sun Tian now has a basic strength of 40 million. Once he uses the magical power of Demai Rage, his combat power will be increased 50 times to 2 billion. Although the Great Devil Piccolo has completely integrated the power of Slagu and pushed his combat power to nearly 450 million, how can he be Sun Tian's opponent? Of course, it is impossible for Sun Tian to directly increase the power by 50 times. Sun Tian can control this increase. Normally, when fighting against Piccolo and others, the maximum increase is 20 times. According to the time, Vegeta should be about to break through. Once Frieza dies, his heart knot will be untied. With Vegeta's talent, once he breaks through and transforms, I'm afraid you, the great Demon King, will have a rival, Sun Tian said. Vegeta went into seclusion in the Holy Realm, formerly Heaven, after returning to Earth after the battle with Frieza. He did not come out even when Shenlong transformed the magic and martial star system. I don't know what he would think when he comes out again and sees the current changes. Sun Tian and others did not interfere with the development of the magic and martial empire. As long as they grasped the general direction, everything was progressing in an orderly manner. What Sun Tian and his men didn't know was that the entire northern galaxy was now in chaos. Frieza's death had caused his subordinates to rule their own territories, and no one was willing to submit to the other. The Magic Empire also had to digest and plan, so it had not yet deployed its troops. In addition, after the news of this battle spread, no force dared to provoke it. Although the Northern Galaxy was in chaos before, those forces could not even raise their heads because of the pressure from Frieza above. But now with the death of Frieza, some hidden forces and Frieza's former subordinates have begun to become restless. Of course, all of this has nothing to do with the Magic and Martial Empire, at least for now. The one who has the biggest headache is probably the Galactic King. Wars are raging, evildoers are everywhere, and the Galactic Patrol of the Galactic King can't handle it at all. On a desolate planet in the Southern Galaxy, an alien who looked similar to Frieza was listening to his subordinates' reports. King Fira, it is absolutely true. Frieza has been killed by a Saiyan named Sun Tian. Now the entire Northern Galaxy is in chaos. Shaviza half knelt on the ground. This alien is Frieza's brother, the ice demon Kavira. Compared with Frieza, Kira is more cruel and has been fighting in the Southern Galaxy for many years. Since the battle with Slug more than 100 years ago, he has also paid more attention to the practice of martial arts. It can be said that even if Kavira has the same combat power, he can compete with Slug, instead of relying on super strength to crush like more than 100 years ago. Kavira's current state is his original appearance. Super martial arts allow Kavira to easily control his current power. He doesn't need to suppress the uncontrollable energy by sealing it like Frieza did. Today, Kavira's combat power is as high as an astonishing 620 million. Even his father, King Crud, is far inferior. More importantly, Kavira has developed a new form. If Frieza's seal is considered a transformation, Kavira can transform again on the basis of the 3 transformations. Of course, in fact, Kavira calls this form evolution, a sublimation of a species. Once Kira enters this form, not only will his body become more suitable for combat, but his strength, speed, and agility will also be greatly improved. By then, the combat power can be as high as a terrifying 980 million. Kavira listened to Shaviza's report, and his cold eyes flashed. Saiyans? I asked my father to exterminate the Saiyans, but he said he wanted to observe. Later, Frieza did the same thing. After he started, he still didn't clean up the mess, Kira said. My lord, what should we do now? Should we avenge King Frieza? Or should we take the opportunity to take over Frieza's territory? Shaviza asked. Foolish. There is no such thing as family affection for us ice demons. Let's not even talk about revenge for Frieza, but I am interested in that Saiyan. Even though Frieza is not that great, he has a combat power of more than 300 million at full strength. He was able to kill Frieza. Could he be a Super Saiyan? Farah muttered to himself. Whether he is a Super Saiyan or not, the strongest clan in the universe can only be our Ice Demon clan. Anyone who threatens our position should be eliminated. Shaviza, gather the mecha troops. I will personally take action to eliminate those who dare to challenge my clan, Kavira said to his subordinates. Yes, my king. Are there only 3 of us? Do we need to bring the army? Asked Shaviza. No, facing a force like us, the army is useless. Go down and prepare. We will set off in one day. Yes. Deep in the Holy Realm, Vegeta has been in seclusion for months, but he always feels that something is missing. Now Vegeta's normal state has reached a combat power of 10 million W. But I don't know if it's because his talent is too high or what. Vegeta has never found the key to transforming into a Super Saiyan. He always feels that there is a layer of membrane blocking in front of him, but he can't tear it open. Past experiences kept appearing in his mind. The anger when he heard that the ancestral planet was destroyed. The humiliation of being treated like a dog by Frieza. The pleasure of fighting on the front lines again and again. The excitement when he had offspring. The relief when he killed Frieza. The unwillingness when Piccolo and Kakarot far surpassed his strength. One scene after another kept flashing in Vegeta's mind. Vegeta was determined in his heart and roared. Suddenly a wave of power emerged from his body, and the layer of membrane that had never been touched was like a drop of rain dripping into the calm water surface, becoming clear. Crack! Vegeta finally broke the barrier, and an unprecedented power burst out. The white aura emanating from his body began to turn into gold, his eyeballs slowly turned into light green, his eyebrows turned into gold, and his black hair, which had already soared into the sky, stood up and turned into gold. Feeling the power constantly surging in his body, Vegeta clenched his hands and suddenly laughed out loud. It was this power, it was so wonderful, it was simply incredibly strong. If he had this power when facing Frieza before, there would still be a chance for Piccolo and Kakarot to take action. 50 times the increase, no, far more than 50 times, Vegeta felt the aura in a body. It was close to 600 million combat power? You know, even if Sun Tian's magic power only increased by 50 times in the later stage, Vegeta's transformation actually reached a terrifying 58 times increase. It's so strong. Vegeta felt the power in his body, and slowly got familiar with this surging energy. The whole person was in a state of resistance. Outside, Sun Tian and Piccolo were sparring, and suddenly felt this amazing energy emanating from the depths of the Holy Realm, and looked over. Is this energy from Vegeta? Asked the great demon king Piccolo. Yes, it's Vegeta, so strong. Piccolo, let's go. After saying that, an energy shield covered the two of them and disappeared out of thin air. Vegeta was feeling the power in his body when suddenly two figures appeared in front of him. Piccolo and Sun Tian appeared. Come on, feel my power? Vegeta was worried that he had no opponent, and didn't give the two of them any time to react. He just dodged and punched Piccolo. So fast, but it's time. Piccolo has been abused by Sun Tian every day. Although he has been abused, his combat power has also increased rapidly, reaching 520 million. Naturally, he will not give in to Vegeta, who has just broken through. The two quickly fought together, and for a while the entire space was filled with the figures of the two. The two are almost the same in terms of combat power and experience. Piccolo wins because he has a more perfect control over his own power, while Vegeta is brave and aggressive. He has just completed his transformation, and he and Piccolo are just a match for each other, and they will meet good materials. It was a pure contest of physical skills, without any energy bomb attacks. At their level, energy attacks were inferior because the opponent would not give you the opportunity to gather a large amount of energy. From time to time there were sounds of collision in the air, and for a moment no one could suppress anyone else. Suddenly Piccolo and Vegeta looked at each other, and then looked at Sun Tian, who was watching the battle in the distance. At the same time they attacked Sun Tian. Sun Tian, who had been observing with his spiritual sense, naturally knew their intentions. He dodged and jumped out of the joint attack of the two. Sun Tian directly activated his bloodline magic, and an evil and violent aura spread out. Facing attacks from two people at the same time, he didn't even lose the upper hand. With one punch, Piccolo was directly hit hundreds of meters away by Sun Tian. With another sweeping blow, Vegeta was forced to return to defense. The three fought for nearly half an hour, and Piccolo and Vegeta could not gain any advantage. They were suppressed by Sun Tian and could only fight against him with joint defense. No more fighting, Kakarot is a pervert. I didn't expect that even Piccolo and Vegeta can't suppress him. After more than half an hour of fighting, Vegeta's excitement brought by the transformation was completely destroyed by Sun Tian. Ha ha ha, Vegeta, you finally broke through. You don't know how badly I have been abused during this period. The great demon king Piccolo felt the same way. Okay, that's pretty good. You know, your transformation is nearly 58 times stronger. Compared to you, I just have a higher base, Sun Tian replied. So proud. Let's go out. We've been eating junk food every day for more than half a year. Let's have a big meal. Although Vegeta had stored a lot of food in the universal capsule, he would get tired of eating it every day. The three of them restrained their breath and returned to the outside world. Well, what's going on? Why has it changed so much? Vegeta finally discovered the changes after coming out. Looking at the completely changed outside world, it felt like a different planet. Of course, in fact, it was indeed equivalent to a different planet. Piccolo slowly told Vegeta what happened in the past 6 months. I didn't expect that so many things would happen in just over half a year. Compared to the dragon, our fighting power is really as small as an ant. Keep practicing, sooner or later we will become stronger. Piccolo felt the same way. Not long after, Bulma and others who heard the news also rushed to the Holy Realm. You know, Bulma and others are actually very busy, usually dealing with some things in the Empire, and the Holy Realm is usually where Sun Tian and other fighting maniacs practice. Of course, the servant of God Popo also took on the work of maintaining the Holy Realm. After hearing that Vegeta had successfully transformed into a Super Saiyan, everyone congratulated him. You know, in this way, the Magic Empire will have 4 high-end combat forces of over 100 million. Sun Tian Kakarot 42 million. Using Blood Rage can reach 2 billion. If other means are taken into account, he can even fight against an opponent with a combat power of 2.5 billion. Vegeta, 1000W, transforms into Super Saiyan, 580 million combat power. Back 520 million. Normally the strongest is of course Piccolo, but when all means are used, Sun Tian is the strongest. Chi Tian, 800W, breakthrough to the initial stage of supernatural power, bloodline increased 20 times, 160 million, all means are used, can fight against 200 million combat power opponents. Unknowingly, the demonic martial empire already possessed the strongest combat power in the northern galaxy. If the second echelon was included, the outside world would probably be scared to death if they knew about it. After breaking the bottleneck, Latiz's combat power increased to 138W in half a year, nearly doubling. Nappa, his combat power also increased to 1.98W in half a year, and he has reached the basic conditions for transforming into a Super Saiyan. In addition to Chi Tian, the combat power of the second generation Saiyan's mixed blood is also good. Except for a few who are still young, the combat power of all of them is over 10,000. I don't know if it is because the genes of the Earthlings and the Saiyans are combined. It is easy to produce strong people. Raditz has 3 descendants. The eldest son Lashat, 11 years old, combat power 8W. The second son Nahas, 7 years old, combat power 3W. The youngest daughter Zisofia, just turned 2 years old, combat power 587. The three descendants of Nappa, the eldest son Larsa, 8 years old, combat power 2W6, the second daughter Amelia, 5 years old, combat power 7,380, the youngest son Shapiro, just turned 1 year old, combat power 138. The three descendants of Vegeta, the eldest son Trunks, 9 years old, combat power 18W, the second daughter Bra, 7 years old, combat power 1W2, the youngest son Phileas, 3 years old, combat power 2,873. Of course, in addition to the descendants of the Saiyans, a group of super warriors have also emerged on Earth. The combat power of the original Tien Shan and others has exceeded 10W, and a group of students who joined the magic martial Saint Emperor earlier have also reached 2W+. The strongest Tien Shan has a combat power of up to W, followed by Krillin with a combat power of Le Pingwith, and Jiaozi is slightly weaker, with a combat power of only. However, a new fat man, Yajirobe, has been added, and his combat power has reached a terrifying 145,800. Moreover, Yajirobe is a weapon-using type, and his swordsmanship can be said to be the strongest in the magic martial empire today. Once a weapon is used, even Tien Shan has to take it seriously, and Kama Senin and Crane Senin, who have always focused on education, now have a combat power of more than W Kama Senin Crane Senin, and the two are still competing as always. However, the two were left behind by Tao Pai Pai. As a killer, Tao Pai Pai has a combat power of 123,800. He often fights on the front line. Now that Tao Pai Pai has gone out of space, he rarely returns to Earth. But if he is in the universe, he will know the reputation of the god of killing Tao Pai Pai. Tao Pai Pai even rarely moves within the sphere of influence of the magic martial empire. Of course, the outside world does not know that Tao Pai Pai is from the magic martial empire, but just thinks that he is a strong man who suddenly appeared in the universe. Of course, the strongest is not these people, but Son Gohan, whose combat power has reached 247,000, which is even more terrifying than Tien Shinhan. Today, Son Gohan serves as the Dean of the Royal Academy of the Magic Martial Empire, and the two immortals Kame and Crane are Vice Deans respectively. The Magic Martial Arts Royal Academy was built in the past 6 months, but those who can enter are either gifted or have made contributions to the empire. It has its own system, and its purpose is to train martial arts masters for the empire. The Magic Martial Arts Royal Academy is located in the Magic Martial Arts Holy Mountain. Of course, in addition to this academy, the Magic Martial Arts Empire has also established academies in other industries to cultivate various talents, and has begun planning the 81 guard planets of the Magic Martial Arts Holy Star. 2 months later, 4 illegal invading spacecraft appeared in the star field controlled by the Magic Martial Arts Empire. When these 4 spacecraft entered the sphere of influence of the Magic Martial Arts Empire, they had already been detected. If the Magic Martial Arts Empire, all spacecraft outside the Empire are monitored, but because the life reaction intensity of these 4 spacecraft was detected to be too high, it has been reported to the Holy Star headquarters. What, there are life reactions with energy exceeding 600 million coming our way? Are you sure the detection was not wrong? Lord Piccolo received the message from the top of the Empire and confirmed it again. Yes, Your Majesty, there are 4 lives coming together, one of which has a combat power of 600 million, and the other 3 are not as strong, but they are also close to 400,000. The voice came from the other side again. Yes, the first emperor of the demonic empire was not Sun Tian, nor Vegeta, but Piccolo, and everyone thought it was normal. As a super strong man with a combat power of more than 500 million, Piccolo has a high prestige in the magic empire. Sun Tian and others are not interested in this position. Even if Piccolo himself is not interested, in order to suppress the people below, Bulma, a woman, can't be the emperor. In the end, everyone has been recommending Piccolo to become the first emperor of the empire. In fact, there is no important matter at ordinary times, and basically no one cares. Naturally, the people below will handle it, unless it encounters a situation like the current one. Okay, got it. Don't worry about them for now, but be sure to monitor the planet they land on and notify us as soon as possible. Lord Piccolo gave the order. In the Holy Realm, Piccolo, Magoten, Vegeta and others gathered together. It was unknown whether this sudden arrival of strong men was an enemy or a friend, but the possibility of them being an enemy was much greater. However, for the current magic and martial empire, this force is strong, but it is not enough to scare the empire. 620 million, this force is very strong, but Piccolo, Vegeta, whether it is an enemy or a friend, it is just right for you to practice. You should know that it is not easy to find masters in the universe who can reach this power. After listening to what Piccolo said, Sun Tian roughly knew who it was. Haha, it just so happens that I have been tortured by you during this period of time, so let's see who is coming this time and dare to come to our magic and martial empire. Vegeta heard it and said that. In the past 2 months, in addition to normal training, Piccolo and Vegeta seemed to have made an appointment and came to compete with Sun Tian every 3 or 5 days, but every time they left with bruises. Now that they heard that a big guy was coming, they naturally started to rub their hands. In the outer space of the Mowu galaxy, after nearly 10 months of cosmic journey, Kira and his mecha team finally arrived. When Kavira and his party woke up, they were shocked to see the huge Magic Saint Star and the 81 satellites of the size of regular life planets surrounding the Magic Saint Star. They originally thought that these planets on the edge of the Milky Way were just garbage planets, and according to the data, this place should not be like this. What's going on? I remember the data showed that this should be a small star system called the Solar System. How come it has become like this now? Kira thought to himself. But he is an emperor-level figure in the universe after all. Although he was shocked, he was not afraid. He directly led the mecha team into the gravitational field of the Holy Star. In the Holy Realm, Sun Tian and his companions, who had already known about Kavira's whereabouts, had gathered together. The area of the current Magic Martial Saint Star that is actually used is too small, and the war occupies less than 10% of the land area. In fact, because the Holy Star is too large, more than 70% of the Magic Martial Saint Star is ocean, and the remaining 20% is land. There is a desert area on the Magic Martial Saint Star, with a radius of hundreds of kilometers, all Gobi, a desolate and rocky area, and occasionally there are some large animals. Kavira and his group came out of the spaceship, emitting a terrifying aura that caused the animals in the area to flee instinctively. What a solid planet. Even I can't destroy it easily. Kavira fired an energy bomb and blasted a huge crater several hundred meters deep on the ground. My lord, I just detected that the combat power of this planet is very high. There are actually several planets with combat power reactions above 10W, Shaviza said. This planet is good. After we solve the problem, we can consider using it as our headquarters, Kavira said. It depends on whether you have the strength. As soon as he finished speaking, the angry voice of Lord Piccolo came from not far away. For the great Demon King Piccolo, whether it was the former Earth or the current Demon Empire, they all belonged to him. An outsider dared to say so arrogantly that he would get rid of them. Naturally, the great Demon King was very unhappy. It turned out that not long after Kavira and the others landed, Sun Tian brought Vegeta, Piccolo, Chi-Tian and others to teleport here. Seeing Sun Tian and his group suddenly appear, the 4 people of Kavira were also shocked. They didn't expect that the owner of this planet could teleport. If I remember correctly, this should be the unique skill of the Yadrat people. Nez habitually pressed the combat power detector, and a bunch of combat power values were displayed, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000, 8,000. Who are you? Do you think you can defeat us with your combat power of less than 10,000 points? Stop joking, Nez laughed. Ruzi is a member of the mecha team. His combat power has reached 330,000. He is slender and 2.77 meters tall. He was born on Zolder, a planet full of water. He is an evolved amphibian. His skin and bones are extremely soft. His head can be retracted into his chest and his limbs can be extended. He has a generator in his body that emits high voltage current from his entire body. You know, their mecha team has a combat power of more than 300,000. Captain Shaviza has a combat power of 318,000, and another team member Dre has a combat power of 375,000. Not to mention King Kvira's invincible combat power of more than 600 million. A few people with less than 10,000 in front of them dared to speak wildly. This is not a joke, what is it? Although the way they appeared was a bit strange, as if they suddenly appeared. Nez didn't believe that a combat power of less than 10,000 could turn the world upside down. Shut up, Kvira said. You know, Kvira is not a mecha team and his vision is high. And Kvira knows that some races in the universe can gather all the power of their bodies. Oh, Namek? I sense a familiar aura from you. Who are you? Kvira looked at King Piccolo. You should be Kvira, right? Your old friend asked me to say hello to you. The great devil Piccolo assimilated Slug, and naturally recognized that the person in front of him was the frozen demon who defeated Slug. Old friend? Who are you talking about? And you actually know my name, it's an honor. Wanna know? Fight first, Piccolo said. At this time Vegeta on the side was unhappy. No one took him seriously anymore. Picker, you wanna cheat? Why do you get to go first? Vegeta, isn't this what others asked for? Look, there are a few other strong fighters nearby. You can take care of them first. Don't give me that. What's the point of fighting against a few scumbags? Enough, do you take us seriously? Kira saw that the other side was being picky, as if they were trash. As for the mecha team on the side, although you know that the opponent's combat power may be far more than what you detected, but what does your look of disdain mean? When did their combat power of more than 300,000 become rubbish? Okay, Piccolo goes first, Vegeta, you go ahead. This time our opponent is not ordinary. Sun Tian saw the two of them rushing to be beaten and he didn't know what to say. He couldn't say that this time our opponent is actually stronger than you. You got it easy. Come on, Vegeta, make room for Piccolo. Kira looked at Sun Tian unexpectedly, and felt that Sun Tian looked familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen him before. As soon as Piccolo heard this, he began to release a restrained aura, and a terrifying evil aura emerged from the body of the great Demon King. Only then did Kira turn his attention to the Namekian, while the 3 younger brothers beside him were already suffocating under the pressure of Piccolo's aura. How is this possible? 2W, 5WW, a cloud of smoke rose up, and the combat power detection glasses of the three people directly exceeded the load and were destroyed. On this side, Piccolo has already started fighting with Kavira. The three members of the mecha team wanted to go up to help, but suddenly a force came, and they were like being stared at by a predator at the top of the food chain, unable to move. The three of them were so scared that they broke out in a cold sweat. Kavira versus Piccolo, one has a combat power of 620 million, and the other has a combat power of 530 million. After this period of training, Piccolo's combat power has improved. Before, when fighting against Sun Tian, he always felt very powerless, but now facing Kira, who is only slightly stronger than him, he is evenly matched. The two kept crossing each other's bodies. Except for Sun Tian, Chi Tian, Vegeta, no one could even see their movements clearly. All they could see were the strange rock hills around them exploding and smoke rising. That idiot Piccolo was actually slowly suppressed by that guy Kavira, Vegeta said. As the battle continued, although Piccolo's martial arts level was very high, Kavira was not Frieza. Although his martial arts level was not as good as Piccolo's, the difference was not big. In addition, Kira was stronger than Piccolo. Very strong, but this is a battle. Fighting with that guy Sun Tian is never fun. Piccolo stared at Kira, who was knocked out by him. You are not bad either. Your fighting power is much stronger than my stupid brother. After the battle just now, Kira no longer looked down on Piccolo as he did at the beginning. Unexpectedly, the legendary Super Saiyan did not appear, but a Namekian who was much stronger than Slug back then came. Slagu, yes, the evil spirit on this guy is similar to the Slagu of those years, Kira thought to himself. You know, the battle that year had a huge impact on Kavira. Slug, who was obviously not as strong as him, was able to fight him on equal terms. If he hadn't entered the third level of transformation and suppressed him with absolute power, it would be hard to say who would win or lose. Even so, Slug escaped. Who are you? I remember that although the Namekians are powerful, I have never seen anyone as strong as you except Slug. Feeling the power in Piccolo that far exceeded that of Slag, Kira couldn't help but ask. I am Slagu, Kira. I didn't expect to have the chance to fight you again. Piccolo's voice suddenly changed, and Slagu's voice appeared in Piccolo's mouth. Slagu? Haha, just a defeated opponent. Kira didn't know why Piccolo suddenly said that. In fact, after Piccolo assimilated Slug, he still cannot fully adapt to this power. When facing Kira, Slug's regret was brought out. Yeah, come again. Suddenly Piccolo flashed and appeared in front of Kira again. A huge energy ball gathered in his mouth and ejected it. Kavira didn't expect Piccolo to suddenly attack like this, but at their level, ordinary energy bombs could no longer cause any harm to them. But subconsciously, Kavira quickly retreated, trying to avoid it. Fell into a trap. At some point, Piccolo had already run to the place where Kavira had to go back. With a heavy punch, he knocked Kavira into the ground. Seizing the opportunity, Piccolo's energy ball exploded into the ground like crazy, suppressing Kavira so much that he couldn't get out of the ground for a while. King Kavira, how is it possible? Shaviza exclaimed. Impossible, the king is invincible. Nez also said that. Kavira didn't expect that he was careless and was actually defeated by Piccolo. However, this attack can only be blocked for a while and cannot cause effective damage to him. Of course, Piccolo also knew that this attack had no effect except wasting his own energy. But being able to suppress Kavira was also an explanation for Slagu. After attacking for a full minute, the great demon King Piccolo stopped. During this minute, the three members of the mecha team could not feel the energy, and once thought that Kavira had already. Until Piccolo's voice sounded. Come out, this level of attack won't be enough to knock you down. Without Piccolo's airbomb suppression, the ground where Kavira was located was overturned with a loud bang. A figure appeared a few hundred meters away. Who else could it be but Kavira? But now Kavira is very angry. After so many years of traveling across the universe, this is the first time he is suppressed underground and cannot break out. You are very good. I didn't expect that there is a master like you in the universe. It seems that I have to take it seriously. You mean we were just warming up? That's exactly what I meant. Haha, I didn't expect Namekians could tell jokes. Whether you are joking or not, you will know in a moment. Kira's energy rose again. As expected, the battle just now was just a warm-up for Kira. Vegeta was so excited watching from the side that he wanted to switch players right away. You two, can you be more serious and stop testing each other? Vegeta shouted. The mecha team was completely reduced to spectators and could only cheer for Kavira silently. If they had previously believed that the opponents were just a group of opponents with a combat power of less than 10,000, now they felt that the opponents were a group of wolves in sheep's clothing, and each of them was very bad. Here, Kavira and Piccolo both adjusted their conditions to their best and fought again, using all their strength. Shocking noises continued to be heard, and both of them were constantly attacking or defending at an astonishing speed. Devil Light Killing Cannon, Death Beam. At this point, these special moves can be easily used. Although they are not as strong as those with concentrated energy, their lethality is also very good. However, the strength of the two is not too different, and they can easily bounce back the attack of the other party. Kavira easily deflected Piccolo's attack and immediately launched a new attack. Supernova. Kvira leaped into the sky, and a huge ball of energy formed between his fingers. If this attack hits an ordinary planet, it would be enough to easily destroy the entire planet. But for a super large planet like the Magic Saint Star, it is not enough. Looking at the energy ball that is constantly approaching him, Piccolo directly blasted an energy ball of the same size between his hands. The two energy balls collided with each other, and they were deadlocked for a short time, making a roaring sound. Both sides wanted to suppress the other, and the martial arts contest turned into a strength contest. Piccolo and Kira both increased their energy output, trying to suppress each other. As time passed, the great Demon King Piccolo gradually fell into a disadvantage. Vegeta, Piccolo can't hold on any longer. He is still much weaker than him in terms of strength. Do you want to help or should I? Sun Tian asked. Let me do it. You can't reveal your strength for the time being. Vegeta shouted, and golden flames appeared all over his body, and he transformed into a Super Saiyan. He moved and appeared directly beside the great Demon King. Lightning Cannon. A stream of energy directly merged with Piccolo's energy ball to counter Kavira's attack. With Vegeta's participation, the balance slowly tilted, and the shockwave that was originally pressing towards Piccolo was slowly pushed back. What impossible! There is actually such a strong person with golden hair. I know, Super Saiyan, Kvira exclaimed in shock. Kvira, go to hell. Super Electric Cannon, Magic Flash. While Kvira was in a state of confusion, Piccolo and Vegeta attacked decisively and launched their strongest attack together. Oh no, block it, you must block it. Kvira looked at the energy wave rushing towards him and wanted to fight back, but he had already lost the opportunity. The super strong energy ball hit Kvira directly and pushed him into space. Kvira, who was constantly being pushed and flying in space, felt a strong sense of crisis in his heart. What? Impossible! How could the king lose? Zaviza and the other two couldn't believe it, but with their strength they couldn't go up to help. Moreover, even after Vegeta went to help Piccolo, the energy lock still existed, and the three of them couldn't move at all. Suddenly, a stronger energy came from the sky. With his life threatened, Kvira finally began his fourth transformation. After the transformation, Kvira finally got rid of this oversized energy wave. Although Kvira with his explosive strength got rid of the huge fusion energy ball, he was unable to fight it back. The shockwave lost the resistance of Kvira, and the speed became faster. It soon collided with the atmosphere and entered the space. Without the control of the follow-up force, it exploded in the space with a bang. The people of the entire Magic Martial Saint Star suddenly found that there seemed to be an extra star in the sky. The incandescent light spread out, and the entire ground of the Magic Martial Saint Star was also slightly shaken. However, people who knew that this was the high level of the Magic Martial Empire fighting the enemy were already used to it. After all, as early as when Kvira and his 4 men came, an announcement had been issued on the internet. Although they knew that the invading enemy had a combat power of 620 million, it still did not pose a threat to the current Magic Martial Empire. Not to mention other things, just on the battle power rankings of the Magic Martial Empire, the top 3 have battle powers of more than 500 million, and the battle power of Sun Tian, who stands at the top, is as high as 1 billion. Of course, this number is only announced by Sun Tian, and the actual battle power is far beyond this number. Moreover, the Emperor Star Magic Martial Saint Star, which has been transformed by the power of the dragon, can now withstand the impact of 10 billion energy, let alone 600 million. At most, the ground is destroyed. But for the Magic Martial Empire, an empire at the forefront of martial arts and technology, even if it is completely destroyed, it will only take 7 or 8 months to rebuild. Moreover, the battle here is actually broadcast live by satellites in space. At least for now, the empire has only dispatched 2 people to fight against the invaders. After his life was threatened, Kira finally got rid of the crisis through the explosive power of transformation, and stopped tens of thousands of meters above with a terrified face. Damn it, I almost transformed a little later, and I would have been blasted into the star. If that happened, even I couldn't withstand the high temperature of the star. Kavira's face was full of hideousness. After transforming 4 times, Kavira's body became a whole circle larger. From the head, the 4 corners extended to the back. The mouth was covered with a layer of armor that could be moved. The eyes turned red and the pupils disappeared. The other 2 shoulders protruded like chest protectors. 2 horns grew from the back, and the arms also grew like knife-like protrusions. In this form, Kira can be said to be born completely for fighting. Every part of the body can be used as an attack weapon. The most important thing is that the combat power has exploded to 980 million. Although Kavira wanted a planet-destroying bomb to directly destroy the hateful planet below, he also knew that such a large planet, not to mention whether Piccolo and Vegeta below were still hiding, even he himself would find it difficult to escape from the explosion of this planet. Of course, Kavira didn't know that even if he used all his strength to launch the planet-destroying bomb, the most he could do was to create a new 10,000-meter deep hole in the Magic Saint Star. It was impossible to destroy it. After several months of training since transforming into a Super Saiyan, Vegeta has not only mastered the transformation proficiently, but his normal combat power has also been accumulated over such a long period of time, and has been pushed up to 1,200 W. The increase of Super Saiyan is also 65 times, with a combat power of 780 million. It is no wonder that Vegeta joined in and directly suppressed and bounced back Kivira's shockwave. The difference was more than 100 million. If Kivira had not felt the threat to his life and transformed, this blow might have directly taken Kivira's life. Usually Vegeta and Piccolo team up to fight against Sun Tian, but Sun Tian's magical power is too powerful, and the two are always abused. But because of this, the cooperation between the two can be described as seamless. Kira stayed in the air for a full minute before flying down from the air at a high speed. The transformed Kivira believed that even if he was 1 against 2, he could defeat Piccolo and this legendary Super Saiyan. But compared to the great devil Piccolo, Kira is more concerned about Vegeta. You must know that the moment Vegeta transformed just now, Kira felt a threat to his life without transforming, which he had never felt when facing Piccolo. Although Piccolo is also powerful, Kivira believes that he can defeat or even kill him without transforming, but for Vegeta, he feels a threat to his life. Here we go, Piccolo. I'll attack and you support. Looking at the Kvelas falling from the sky, the two quickly entered combat status. They could sense the chi and they had no confidence to fight against the current Kvelas alone. The two men quickly separated and surrounded Kivira from 2 directions. Asshole, you're just in time. Seeing the two men's actions, Kira knew their purpose. Kira knocked Vegeta, who was attacking from the front, away with a punch, then turned around and threw a supernova energy ball at Piccolo. Piccolo had to dodge the energy ball with his speed, but he was too late. At this time Kira had already approached Piccolo's back and punched him hard, knocking Piccolo into the ground. Kivira, who was about to take advantage of the victory to attack, suddenly said, "Oh no," and was knocked out. It turned out that when Kivira was fighting Piccolo, Vegeta had already touched Kivira's back. Boom, there was a strong explosion from underground, and Piccolo was seen overturning the ground and rushing out. In the sky, Vegeta and Kivira are fighting. Seeing this, Piccolo raised his right hand to 2 fingers, and saw lightning flashing between his fingers, and a stream of energy gathered on the surface. Vegeta, hold on for 20 seconds, he telepathically said. After a long period of cooperation, Vegeta naturally knew that Piccolo was going to use his ultimate move. Kivira, who was fighting Vegeta in the sky, didn't take Piccolo seriously. In his opinion, the goal this time was to kill this legendary Super Saiyan. Although the Namekian on the ground was also quite powerful, he was not a threat to him after his 4th transformation. But suddenly Vegeta dodged and jumped out of the battle circle. Kira was about to chase him, but suddenly he felt a throbbing of life. Not good, but it was too late. Piccolo, who had been accumulating strength for a long time, finally used his ultimate move, Devil's Light Killing Cannon 500. Under the chi lock, Kira couldn't escape at all and could only resist. A life energy shield appeared on Kivira's body. This was a trick that would only be used when his life was seriously threatened. Even in the previous battle he had not used it. At the same time, Kira crossed his hands to protect his vitals. A powerful shockwave arrived in an instant, and Kira didn't even have time to organize a counterattack. The powerful penetrating force collided with Kivira's protective shield. Zizizi Kakaka. Kira used all his strength to input into the protective shield, but with a click, the protective shield was directly shattered. Ah! With a scream, the strongest horns on Kivira's arms broke directly, and the whole person was knocked several thousand meters away by the powerful impact force. Vegeta quickly followed after Piccolo made his attack, and Piccolo was exhausted after the attack, panting heavily. It was obvious that the attack had almost exhausted all the energy of the great demon king Piccolo. Kira struggled to get up from the ground, the sharp horns of both arms were broken, and purple blood flowed out. If it weren't for the instinctive reaction of the body, the protective shield was opened in time to block for a moment, and the strongest sharp horns of the arms consumed the penetrating power of the attack. I'm afraid it would not be like this now. Although the attack horns on the arms were lost, fortunately both arms were preserved. Although they were still numb, it was better than being pierced through the heart directly. You know, even for their frozen clan, although a pierced heart is not fatal, the combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced. A boundless resentment rose in Kivira's heart. He had originally intended to kill the Super Saiyan, the enemy of the Ice Clan, but he did not expect that he almost lost his life at the hands of a Namekian. Bastards, you are all going to die. I am determined to kill all life on this planet, Kira roared. Ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. Can you still exert some strength now with your broken body? Suddenly Vegeta's voice came from not far away, and he felt that Kivira's energy had dropped a lot, probably to about 800 million at most. It's you, the Super Saiyan? Kira looked at Vegeta with cold eyes. The Ice Clan is really stubborn. Frieza is like this, and you are the same, sending your head thousands of miles away. Although Vegeta didn't know what hatred the Saiyans and the Ice Clan had in the past, for some reason, he really couldn't have any good feelings towards the Ice Clan. And this feeling was not because the Saiyans were almost exterminated by Frieza, but an instinct that went deep into the soul. Super Saiyan, huh? If it weren't for Frieza's arrogance, he would have destroyed your clan as soon as he found it, so why are there so many troubles? Kira snorted coldly. You are just a sealed tribe, but I didn't expect that someone could break the seal and transform into a Super Saiyan again. But from your appearance you are still at the beginner stage, otherwise I would have to run away even if I saw you, Kvara continued, as if he was recalling something. It seems that you and our Saiyan tribe know each other very well, Vegeta asked in confusion. You have to know that although the Saiyans are known as a fighting nation, at least before the rise of Vegeta, Sun Tian and others, it was really a bit unworthy of the name. Before Planet Vegeta, although the Saiyan population also had several million, most of them had a combat power of less than 2,000. Those who could reach 5,000 could be called excellent warriors, and those who could reach 8,000. It can be said that the entire Vegeta planet has a base of several million, and there are only a few hundred people. And there are only less than 50 people with a combat power of more than 10,000. This combat power may not be weak, but it is definitely not strong in the universe, but the Saiyans actually regard themselves as a fighting nation, which is indeed a bit unreasonable. Although most races in the universe have a combat power of no more than 1,000, the universe is so large that there are races with an average combat power of 1,000. Why can you Saiyans regard yourself as a fighting nation? A fighting nation cannot call itself that just because they are warlike. There are so many warlike nations in the universe. Don't you see that the Frozen clan has a combat power of tens of millions when they are born? They don't call themselves a fighting nation, they just claim to be the #1 race in the universe. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect the Saiyans have fallen to the point where they don't even know their own history. I really don't know whether I should feel sad for you or be happy for the gods. Kira looked at Vegeta in front of him. And didn't think about his own race. Although their Ice Clan was known as the #1 race in the universe, they were just the thugs of the gods. The Saiyans had fought against the sky and the gods, and their clan was just a tool placed by the gods in the lower world to wipe out the Saiyans. Of course, these were all information he got from the depths of his memory after his 4th transformation. Before that, Kavira was just like Krud and Frieza, ignorant of the universe. This is why Kavira wanted to kill the Saiyans when he heard about them, because he knew too well how terrifying the Saiyans were. According to his memory, in ancient times, even the Ice Clan who had 5 or even 6 transformations of the Saiyans were no match for them. What do you know? If you can tell me, maybe I can choose to spare your life. Vegeta really didn't know his past as a Saiyan. Seeing that Kvara was hinting at something, if he could figure it out, it would be fine to spare his life. Don't be ridiculous. You just turned into a Super Saiyan and you really think you can beat me. Let's fight. Although Kvara was tricked by Vegeta who suddenly broke in, he was not afraid of Vegeta, even though he was injured now. In the distance, Sun Tian, who had been paying attention to the battle, did not expect that the Saiyans actually had a history that he did not know, and it seemed to be extremely glorious. Even though the plot and the memory of the previous life did not mention it, I only knew that when I watched the drama in the previous life, I felt that whether it was King God or the God of Destruction, it seemed that they did not like the Saiyans at first. As for Sun Wukong and others who followed Whis to practice later, it always felt more like they were being used. Is there any other story in this?